still got that grin. Ron stepped up to the lectern and swept her gaze over all the students in the classroom.
President, should I really start my introduction now? Aren't we missing someone?
Oh?
That's right, she hasn't arrived yet. The class president's response seems a bit strange. Sakura-san hasn't shown up yet, but she woke up even earlier than I did this morning. I'd have thought...
Oh boy.
Someone with the same family name as Miss Sakura. Now I'm worried about meeting them. I'm missing Miss Sakura.
Oh no.
Hinata, have you forgotten?
Mio spoke lightly with her fingertips interwoven and steepled.
You picked lots yesterday. It's possible she's the victim this time round.
The what?
Victim?
Ron ruminated on this strange phrase, one which wasn't supposed to show up in a regular conversation between high school students.
What are they talking about? If Miss Sakura was the victim, then she might already be dead, right? Dead?
Ron let out a small shriek. Gosh, this round's killer sure got right to work.
What are you all talking about?
And according to the rules, we're gonna have to cancel the morning classes and skip right to the coursework. This is the free time. As soon as Sai finished speaking, she picked up her bag and left her seat. Ron looked about in bewilderment, hoping someone would explain things to her, but the others were also cleaning up their things and getting ready to leave. I saw Sakura earlier this morning while swimming. It's possible her corpse is somewhere around there. Let's go in.
Hold on?
Ron couldn't stand the growing stress in her heart anymore. She felt like she was going to explode from the pressure if she didn't do something about it.
It's just, what are you all trying to say?
Yeah, they're just going on about it like this is completely and utterly normal to him.
That person who didn't show up, you called her... Sakura?
Ron couldn't breathe, and she couldn't say the name. Lost control of her heartbeat again and clenched her fists until her fingernails pierced the skin of her palm to forcibly regain control over her emotions. Ron had to take several deep breaths before she was able to speak normally again.
That person who hasn't shown up yet, what did you say happened to her?
Izumi approached Ron, seeming rather concerned about Ron's sudden irregular behavior.
What's wrong? Ibuki-san, are you feeling unwell? Forget that, answer me!
Ron's outburst stunned Koizumi slightly, rose up without giving her an answer. Miho, seeing the situation, intervened in quickly and spoke.
It's as they said, the person who hasn't shown up yet has most likely already been killed. The killer is one of the 6 of us.
Hearing those words, Ron's brow furrowed. He looked at everyone in the room, trying to divine from their expressions if this was some practical joke they were all playing on her, to no avail. The stress that immediately came upon her afterwards pushed her half to her knees. She was forced to lean on the wall for support as she broke out in sweat again. She felt the urge to dry heave, a sign that her illness was about to act up again. She didn't want to reveal those symptoms to anyone in this room. The image of a torn sheet of paper flashed through her mind once again.
You're saying that you've killed someone?
We've already said it a bunch of times, haven't we? Yeah, one of our classmates has been killed by someone in this class. They once again confirmed the truth of this bizarre situation.
What's going on? What is happening in this school? What kind of place have I been brought to? Weren't things fine just a moment ago? How did it suddenly become like Danganronpa?
Right. By this point, the other students had encircled Ron, who was squatting on the floor. They were all looking at her. But Ron, the subject of their gaze, was afraid to look up at them, feared that she'd see that their faces had already begun to melt. Ibuki, why are you freaking out?
Why should I not be freaking out?
Correct. Correct. Ron was quietly hyperventilating.
forget seeing the corpse. Just your nonchalant attitude and the way you're all talking about something like this is enough to make you want to panic like a crab in a deep fryer.
That's a very...
And then Tama asks, what is a deep fryer?
I sure ain't never seen a crab that can still crack a joke like that after it's already been thrown in the fryer. Ryan used the periphery of her vision to peek at Sai's face. It didn't look like there were any irregularities. She relaxed slightly at that and slowly raised her head to look at the other students.
You don't look like you're putting up an act.
Miho bent down and began to gently stroke Ron's back.
I'm responsible for filling the role of the school nurse. Here, let me take a look at you.
We do have maintenance. We have class president.
No, I think the missing person is the one who really needs your attention right now. Don't worry about it. She's already dead.
True. Okay. That just tells us that information. Interesting information. We all have a school role here.
Mm-hmm.
Miho chuckled a little.
You're absolutely right. If you think there's nothing wrong with yourself, then stand up and come along, and let's go find a corpse together.
Let's go find a corpse. Let's go find a corpse and have a corpse party.
Hey.
In a school. Miho offered her hand for Ron to take as she turned to speak to Sai.
Erna-san, lead the way if you will.
Sure thing. Fair warning, though, I don't actually know if her corpse is really there. All I know is that I saw her hanging around there when I was swimming. Miho pulled Ron to her feet and then nodded at Sai.
I think it's quite likely that's the place then. After all, Ann hardly ever visits the swimming pool.
Welp. That's true. I've never seen Ann go swimming out of her own volition. She might well have met with the killer there before getting killed. Then we should get going quickly. It'd be pitiful to leave Ann there by herself, all by herself for too long. We should deal with it sooner rather than later, so that she can be at peace, right? Oh, just the three of them finished speaking, a loud noise came from the direction of the lectern. Ron, who just managed to get to her feet, had once again fallen to her knees. Trembling all over, she seized Miho's wrist with both hands. Ron stared at her with such an intensity that even the normally unflappable Miho Take was startled, flinching backwards instinctively. Uh-oh.
That person who didn't come, the one you said might have been killed, what was their name?
Miho seemed like she was suppressing her own disordered thoughts and to keep herself calm. She turned her wrist and grabbed Ron's hand, trying to pull her off the ground. But Ron's tight grasp on her almost caused Miho to collapse instead.
Answer me, what was her name? What's up with you? Alright, I don't know why you have to ask about this right now, but... Name of the person we've been talking about is Ann Sakura.
There. Ron has updated her notes.
Good for her.
Ron Ibuki has always liked the rain. She especially loved it when it started storming without warning. Watching strangers outside her window scramble around for shelter while she hid safely at home gave her an indescribable sense of security. She told Ann about this. Her love asked her, "But how would you feel if I were the one trapped in the rain?"
How did I answer her back then?
Would you still love me if I turned into a, eclipse?
Unconditionally, I'm sure.
Eclipse silkworm. Eclipse silkworm, yes. Ron trotted behind everyone else as they headed toward the place where Sai had said she had last seen Ann. She didn't say a word and only occasionally looked up toward the sky, watching the dark clouds slowly converge.
If Sakura-san knew she might get killed, why would she go there at all in the first place?
She's always been pretty cooperative with her killers. But she never put up much of a fight whenever I was supposed to kill her either. Sorry? Students ahead of her all seemed quite at ease. They'd spent the whole trip discussing Ann and the murderer with each other. That's true. Whenever it's Ann's turn to be the victim, the culprit always tends to strike quickly.
Hang on now. You shouldn't let yourself get spoiled just because Ann's so easy to work with. we keep relying on her cooperation, then we'll have to change the rules eventually.
Shouldn't we just focus on who the culprit is first, anyways? If she really did die near the swimming pool, then wouldn't that make me the prime suspect?
Does that make Yororo-san the culprit then?
And let me tell you, it's not a bad thing to be so straightforward, but you're not going to find the answer that way. Hey, it's not like she's completely straightforward. Tama frequently surprises all of us with things she chooses to do. Isn't that right, Tama?
I bet she's so good at murder.
Right. It's because she's the last one you'd expect. I'm realizing what or who Makoto was giving me vibes of, and
yeah?
Am I wrong for thinking that she's giving me Makima vibes?
Oh my god. I was so focused on the mysterious Miss Sakura giving Makima vibes, I didn't notice.
Right. Tama shook her head fiercely.
I just picked up a few things from my books, is all, because I haven't had the chance to read often before.
She's studying modern murder.
Oh. And despite knowing my methods, Sasakura-san's never exposed me before.
Well, we did read those books together, after all. Bonding over murder. Listening to the students' conversations, Ron began scratching her scalp again, and it didn't stop the pressure from rising within her.
Hey, are you okay?
Slowing her steps, Miho came to Ron's side.
I'm fine.
But I was gonna say, Miho seems like the perfect fusion of Sakura and Tosaka.
Osaka?
Rin. Miho seems like a perfect fusion of those siblings. Shouldn't you? I'm discombobulated.
Shouldn't you be happy that I'm suffering anyways? Clean. I thought you hated me.
Ron turned her head away, not wanting to speak to Miho.
Dumpy. You're making me sound like some kind of psychopath. I don't hate you, okay? I just wanted to know why you showed up here at our school.
Understandable. Miho tilted her head slightly and inspected Ron's face carefully.
No face, trembling lips, pupil dilations, pretty unnatural too. Any headache? A bit.
Mouse bites. I prescribed mouse bites. Miho pressed her hand against Ron's forehead for a moment.
Oh, at least there's no fever. Alright, I can probably imagine what you're thinking. You knew Ann previously, didn't you? You could tell from your uniform the other students should have noticed as well. So once you heard she'd been killed, you weren't able to wrap your mind around the idea, which is why you're in your present condition. The first time we went through all this, we had pretty much the same reaction as you did, but once we got used to it, we found it wasn't a big deal after all.
Okay, this does have to be some kind of time loop. As soon as Miho had stopped speaking, Ron seized Miho's shoulder with a sudden hand. Noticing that something wasn't right, the other stopped as well.
Got used to what? Murdering your own classmates or discussing the deceased with mockery? Just explain to me, why do you have to do things like this? You really committed murder?
Don't be so quick to judge things you don't understand, Ibuki.
That no one explains to her.
True.
Well, make me understand then. Explain what exactly you've done clearly.
Use full sentences and big words. Ron felt Miho pressing a hand onto Ron's, so she turned her head and met Miho's eyes.
Ibuki-san, please calm down. Let's find Ann's corpse first. Then we'll explain everything to you properly after you see her corpse.
Right. That is going to be that is going to be the perfect condition to calm and explain.
Right now, even if we tried to tell you everything, you'd have a hard time comprehending it. But if you see the corpse, I'm sure you'll understand as well. By the way, warning for gore.
Oh, okay. Duly noted. Warning for gore. Be very wary. Ron's hands trembled and she shook her head helplessly.
How could I possibly understand?
Ron let go of Miho. Now it was Miho's turn to take hold of Ron's shoulder.
Let's go.
The conditions aside, she does have a pretty solid nursing demeanor. I can appreciate that.
Don't worry, Ibuki-san. Sakura-san will be okay.
I want to trust you,
He
Tama.
is, however, dead.
I want to trust you, Tama, but I'm very scared. Faced with Tama's supportive words, Ron had no idea how she was supposed to respond. She could only force out the barest of grimaces. Okay. Hey, Bakoto.
Katie.
Pretty. Asakura-san.
Asakura-san, will the swimming pool freeze this year as well? Will the season still pass?
Yeah, the temperature's already gotten pretty low. It'll probably freeze over very soon. Yono, you should consider spending less time swimming, too. You get a cramp at the swimming pool during the winter. I definitely won't jump in to save you.
And drown.
It's not like I've ever seen you there even when it wasn't winter. Plus, I'm used to it already. It'll be fine.
Used to it.
Everyone's so used to it here, it's scary. Oh, was it snows again? We can build snowmen in the courtyard again. Let's build a chibi miho in the snow together, Sai-chan. Are you bringing that back up on purpose? Oh, right. That one time Sai-chan got killed, they hid your corpse in a snowman, didn't they? Hardcore. Almost scared me to death when I went to shovel up the snow that day. All I can say is, that sure is Tama for you. Always exceeding our expectations. Tama hid a corpse in a snowman? Tama hid Sai's corpse in a snowman? Damn.
Oh, she's so shy about it.
About your talent. About your murder talent. Tama's embarrassed expression made everyone crack up.
What?
Understand. Relatable. We're almost there. See the old shower room up there? I saw Sakura go in there this morning. Ron lifted her head, looking where Sai was pointing. Even found it odd at the time, as I only ever used the new shower room on the other end myself. The old showers are much less convenient. We're going Danganronpa 2 Chapter 2 style.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So that's where Miss Sakura is right now?
Ron took a few steps forward, eyes glued on the showers.
Ibuki-san.
Ron rushed toward the old shower room and pushed Miho, standing in front of her, out of the way with one hand.
Ibuki-san.
Ron's footsteps grew faster and faster as she knocked Sai's shoulder out of the way as she charged forward. Ron rushed into the shower room that Sai had indicated. Clutching the frame of the door, she stared at the girl leaning against the wall before her. Ron pulled her shoulders in, not sure where she should put her hands. She flailed her arms meaninglessly in the air, as though she'd forgotten how to control her own body. Relatable, girl. Relatable. Finally, she brought them to her hands to her before her own face, letting her fingers wander up and down her face like kudzu. Ron pried her mouth open with her hands and finally let out a shriek. Without question, the corpse in front of her was the love of her life, Ann Sakura. Gore. "11037. There was a horizontal cut in the young woman's neck, which split the muscle and exposed blood vessels, vertebrae to the air.
The gore is mainly in the text.
Indeed. Massive amounts of blood had gushed forth from the wound, staining the collar of her shirt and continuing downward to cover Ann Sakura's black outerwear with bloodstains. Looking up, Ron saw that Ann's long locks of hair had been spattered with blood. At that moment, she could only think that she ought to put these locks into her own mouth so that she could suck the blood out. Ann always hated it when her hair got dirtied, after all. All Ron could think of was how she had to get her hair clean immediately, or else Ann would surely be disconsolate about it later. Such disjoint thoughts.
It's that corpse.
Yeah. Like, such disjointed thoughts couldn't restore Ron's composure to her, as she slowly looked downward. There was a slight tilt to the old shower room's floor, which was causing the flow of blood to flow toward the night. By now, it had converged into a river. Blood pooled over the drainage grate, slowly dripping, drop by drop, into the shadowy drain. At that moment, the sound of the dripping slammed itself into Ron's sanity over and over like a sledgehammer. Ron fell to her knees. She barely managed to catch herself with her elbows, bringing her into contact with the still flowing blood. Looking down, she saw her newly red-stained hands and knees and immediately arched her back and started tearing furiously into her own scalp. Nails scraped sharply against skin, letting out spine-chilling sounds reminiscent of flesh being torn. Interspersed into it all was Ron's on and off weeping.
Sakura.
Ron's hands clawed even harder. Already there were traces of blood and skin stuffed onto her fingernails. She felt like she was dangling on a spider's thread. The thread itself was the only thing keeping her from losing her mind to hell. The thing that had cast the thread in the first place was the mockery that the others had made of the murder with their playful words.
Ibuki-san?
Miho seized Ron's hands from behind.
What are you doing? Miss Sakura's blood. I'm telling you, Ann's fine. You're the one who's really scaring me right now.
We really should have explained this before this. Like, you have the demeanor of a nurse.
One could use context clues.
Yeah, you have the demeanor, Miho, but your judgment here was very poor.
Not very great bedside manner.
Indeed. Miho helped her up, but Ron immediately lost her balance and collapsed onto Miho's back.
And stand up.
Miho held Ron's waist with her left hand and gently patted her back with the right. Ron shook her head, her whole body powerless. Then she suddenly awoke and seized the collar of Miho's uniform with a trembling hand.
Which one of you six killed her? Who was it? Tell me. Please just calm down and let us explain. Listen to you. I've been looking for her for so long, and I finally managed to see her again. So why did it have to be like this? Why did it have to be like this?
Ron suddenly released her grip on Miho's shirt and she wept unintelligibly. Miho didn't get angry with Ron's actions at all. He continued gently stroking Ron's back, trying to reassure her. He whispered quietly into Ron's ear.
Ibuki-san, Ann's not dead. She'll come back to us.
Ron shook her head furiously.
I don't understand. I don't understand a word of what you're saying. Oh, keep making me.
Soon the other students arrived on the scene as well. Oh, yep, Gorp sure is right here. Oh yeah, please. I guess I really am the prime suspect then. Since it's near the swimming pool, let's presume that Yorino is the killer for now and start investigating. I swear, Ann Sakura.
And let's hurry and begin. Let's solve this case quickly and wake Sakura-san back up so that we can cheer Ibuki-san up too.
Koizumi headed over to Ann's body and bent down, preparing to touch her. Oh no.
Don't touch her.
Ron's reaction startled Koizumi. He pulled her hand back immediately and leapt up into a stiff pose, as though she was a misbehaving student who'd been told to stand in the corner and think about what she'd done wrong. Yeah, that's right. Think about it. You don't touch my dead girlfriend. Ron pushed Miho away and quickly stepped in front of Sai.
I'm done trying to understand what you lot are saying, but is that people who die here can still come back to life, right? Tell me what I have to do.
Ron-chan seems rarely upset.
No.
Even though Ron's emotions had been heavily perturbed by the sight of Ann's corpse, she was very aware that her rationality hadn't completely shut down yet.
He probably knew on before this.
She remembered that everyone at the scene had either directly or indirectly mentioned this completely incomprehensible idea that the dead would ultimately reawaken. Based on that attitude, their attitude to them killing their classmates and reviving the dead was completely commonplace and mundane at this point. Oh, Miho?
He likely believes that Ann's truly dead. That's why she's acting like this.
I heard her say in the classroom that she was looking for a missing girlfriend. If Ron hadn't noticed these things, she would have long since have completely lost her sanity at Ann's death, and allowed her condition to consume her. Could she have meant Ann? In fact, curiosity would probably have driven Ron to verify their outlandish claims anyway, had the victim been anybody other than Ann Sakura.
Ron, please.
Yeah. Oh. Dueling reaction.
Girlfriend?
Basically, what you need to do is identify the culprit and recount the steps that she took to commit the murder. If you recount everything correctly, Sakura will come back to life.
How does the revival work? I can't imagine such a thing.
Since when did the two of you get so synced up? First the wounds mend, and the blood regenerates, and last of all, the heart begins to beat again. For this, well, there was this one time that the culprit cut off all the limbs of the victim and hid them in different locations all over the school, even cut open the victim's abdomen to expose their internal organs. Yeesh. Sai's expression grew complex, and she shrugged before continuing.
Did you get your organs ripped out?
Well, you gotta see for ourselves the full process of the victim's survival at that time. So trust me, with such relatively light wounds as these, Sakura won't take more than a few seconds to come back to life. Okay, that does sound rather brutal. Ron covered her mouth as she imagined the scene that Sai had described.
The kind of revival she's talking about is the type that restores the existing body while retaining the soul of the deceased? That means it can't be the golem delivery system. They reconstruct entirely new bodies for the dead without retaining the soul.
Oh, that's a thing.
Yep. Would it be Mr. Blood Sculptor? I remember that one could repair corpses by causing wounds to grow new tissue. We can learn about Mr. Blood Sculptor later. The Blood Sculptor requires massive amounts of readily available blood on hand, though, and I don't know if it has the power to preserve the soul. I've never seen it operate on a corpse either.
The true final form of chunks. Oh.
There's Mr. Blood Sculptor.
Ah, yep.
There's plenty of other anomalies related to revival. No, none of those involve retrieving the dead from elsewhere altogether, leaving the original corpse where it lies. Yeah, most of those involve.
Oh, is that, oh, that is Sai. Forget the girlfriend thing. Ibuki's gone mute again. It's like this happens to her whenever she's thinking about something. That is true.
Any
Sai has
thoughts,
been
Headful?
around. Yeah, understandable.
Oh, Asakura-san. Asakura-san sometimes goes all quiet, gets all serious face too.
Oh.
Can't imagine what kind of power it'd take to enact revival on the original corpse itself.
Is that so? I must have been thinking about you then. Wink, wink.
In fact, with the conditions for resurrection being as bizarre as this, perhaps it's not a passive mechanism, but rather another conscious entity actively deciding whether the dead should be revived or not.
Judgment boy with his, passed the vibe check. I don't know where that sentence was going, but...
I pitched this game to Don as a bunch of high school girls recreationally Danganronpa each other, and I'm very glad he forgot about that.
That is true. I understand it now. I
can't figure it out. If only Lady Ihara were here, she'd surely be able to see the answer instantly.
Sakura's corpse may not have made me want to hurl, but listening to you two, sure does. Wow. Oh, Misihara. How come we keep
Lots of new terms.
How come we keep going into mute mode like that? We're gonna go into mute mode more and learn about these fellows here. Golem delivery. Non-physical conceptual entity. The power to restore those killed by a certain method, the details of which are unclear, to the state they were in 1 hour prior to dying. Survival disregards the laws of physics and ends only when the one who is directly or indirectly responsible for killing the revived individual suffers brain death. To prevent the resurrected dead from being discovered by others, Ron has been obligated 3 times to personally restore them to their natural state. Ron has
had an interesting life.
Indeed. Ron has been a part of the Golem delivery service.
Hi, Mr. Blood Sculptor.
Okay. A black-haired Maine Coon house cat with scarlet eyes. Its vocal cords are standard for feline organisms, and thus it cannot produce human speech. However, it is capable of understanding spoken Punjabi, which is allowed it to enter into a cooperative arrangement with Ran Ibuki. Oh, Ran has mastered many languages. Blood sculptor is capable of sculpting blood into any and all forms of animal biological tissue without regard for the nature of the blood. It can create any species tissues out of any species blood, as long as it has sufficient understanding of the species and tissues involved. After Ran bought the blood sculptor 36 bags of PR brand frozen cat food and engaged in constant petting of the blood sculptor's head and stomach for 3 hours each day for 18 consecutive days. The blood sculptor agreed to use 10 gallons of whale blood to create a serpentine creature bearing features from many different organs. Oh. Wow. The exact nature of this creature has been forgotten due to Ran's memory loss.
Oh, no, it's just a Jormungand.
I was going to say, why was my first thought Ran just made Rayquaza? The sculpted creature flew into the sky after 2 hours passed and disappeared. See, there was a big earthquake and a big flood, and that was how she solved the problem. She just got the Mr. Blood Sculptor to make Rayquaza. We all lived happily ever after. Miss Ihara. Oh, ordinary human. Her full name is Yukari Ihara. According to her, this is a pseudonym. Apparently an ordinary human based on current recorded interactions between Ran Ibuki and Yukari Ihara. However, she possesses both exceedingly sharp intellect and deep insight into certain cognition-distorting anomalies, both of which seem impossible for an ordinary human to possess. Ran Ibuki is on cordial terms with her and often receives her assistance. Ziara claims she aids Ran because she sees many similarities between herself and Ran.
Sensei?
I see. Alright, we're still in mute mode. Ran sniffled a bit and forcefully wiped away her tears. Her eyes were a little red from crying.
I understand. I was going to find the culprit anyway, no matter what, and if this can bring Miss Sakura back to life, then all the better. And when that happens, I will take Miss Sakura away from this place.
Well, you have to ask her permission for that, but I guess that's none of our business.
Of course Miss Sakura will agree. After all, she's my girlfriend.
This is gonna make for
Because it sounds like she hasn't told any of the others that she has a girlfriend.
Yeah. Everyone is quite surprised by this news.
Girlfriend? Or Hinata. Is that true? That's the first I've heard of it. Aunt's never mentioned you to us before.
Okay, there it is.
Never mentioned me. Forget it. I can figure that out later.
Ran turned and approached Ann's corpse. She kneeled down and brushed strands of her hair away from Ann's face, so that she could see it more clearly. The face she'd sought for so long made Ran's heartbeat almost stop for a moment. She wanted to do nothing more than pick up Ann and give her a deep kiss. But Ann Sakura's bloodless face and the stench of blood all around them forced her to remain calm.
Please, just endure it for a little bit longer, Miss Sakura. I'll find the truth. No matter what the cause is, you've now been forced to participate in what they consider to be ordinary, everyday life. The school that's been isolated from the outside world for a year without being affected at all. The linguistic abnormalities, the students who murder each other and revive the dead by finding the culprits, and all the rest of the strangeness. I have to keep my wits about me at all times. If I let myself believe like they do that this is all completely normal, then it's possible that I'll never be able to get out of here. Sakura, you have to wake up, please. I'm nothing without you. Hinata, let's let Ibuki-san handle the coursework this time around.
The coursework.
Sure.
Koizumi Hinata only now seemed to have regained the wits she'd lost from when Ran had berated her. She nodded her head in a panic, agreeing with Miho's statement.
Let's do as Take-san suggested. This will help Yuki-san understand the coursework at our school more quickly as well.
Welcome to class.
What's coursework supposed to mean? I don't know if you noticed or not, but on our syllabus, we only have classes in the morning, with every afternoon marked as free activities. This sort of situation is what we refer to when we say free activities. We consider this part of our coursework as well.
Murder training.
Under normal circumstances, we'd be competing with each other, but this time we'll let you handle it by yourself. We'll give you all the help you'll need.
Indeed.
Feel free. All I want to do is find a killer. You people's rules are your own business.
Ron took a deep breath, letting the stench of blood and the pool's disinfecting scents mix together and flow, carried by her inhalation, into her brain. It was like she injected a stimulant directly into her skull, and it slew each of her uncontrollable trains of thought. Ron and Ibuki had returned to her normal state. No paper needed.
Then let's begin investigating the crime scene.
Recall point. Da 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 da.
Oh, her face.
Oh, Sag.
Murderer, who could it be?
Handbag. On. Handbag. Ron scanned the area, confirming the situation again.
Besides the area around the corpse, there are no other unnatural bloodstains. Miss Sakura's bloodstains don't show any indication that her corpse was dragged anywhere, so this should be the original scene of the crime. But there's an abnormal amount of blood at the scene of the crime. Unless Miss Sakura didn't die quickly after her neck was cut, allowing her heart to continue pumping blood. But with a wound like this, death ought to have been extremely fast.
Ron shook her head, stooped down, and opened Ann Sakura's handbag.
The handbag's clearly been moved. Miss Sakura should have been carrying it on her shoulder, or at least in her hand. When she was attacked, she stepped back and hit the wall, before collapsing. Bag shouldn't have appeared here, and the bloodstains wouldn't have looked like this either. Did the killer take anything out of it? Notebooks, some stationery. That's all that was in the bag. And the stationery didn't look like the kind that Miss Sakura usually favors either. And
Ron searched all over the handbag, but she didn't find what she was looking for.
strange.
She put down the handbag and began rifling through the pockets of Ann's jacket and dress.
Not here either. Miss Sakura didn't carry her phone with her. President, does Miss Sakura keep her phone on her usually?
Presumably seemed to skip a beat before answering.
We keep our phones on ourselves usually. Otherwise, we might not be able to call each other if we got into trouble. Does Miss Sakura ever forget to bring her phone with her?
I doubt it. Ann's very consistent. Never seen her make a mistake. She's the kind of girl who could brush her teeth without spilling a drop of water.
Pretty sure you're the only person in the whole class who can't. Back on topic, though. I don't think Ann would have forgotten to bring it. Are you looking for her phone just now? Yep. It's fine, I get it. Let's leave it at that. Are there any other clues?
No phone. Investigated. Ron knelt next to Ann's corpse and brushed away the hair that covered her neck. A few strands of torn muscle dangled in the bloody wound. The skin draped at the top of it was as limp as ragged cloth. Oh, yep, that's vivid. Ron approached the wound for a closer inspection. The cut is extremely deep, reaching all the way to the depths of the cervical fascia. The most direct cause of death was most likely exsanguination with the severing of the neck veins and arteries. Though the windpipe has been severed as well, it's possible that Miss Sakura had already died of asphyxiation before the exsanguination reached fatal levels. Miss Sakura's left hand shows no stains of blood on the palm side, and her right hand only at the fingertips. Even that's probably because it was dangling in the bloody puddle on the floor. So
Sorry, I was taking a sip.
Understandable. Oh, sir. I completely forgot that she was talking.
Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
So she didn't reflexively clutch at her throat when it was cut at all. Or she was holding something that made her incapable of reacting immediately.
holding something. Ooh, squishy.
Eeh.
After a moment of hesitation, Ron used her right hand to peel the wound on Sakura's neck open slightly. Separation of flesh and blood made a faint but gruesome squelch. Yeah? Blood trickled down Ron's pointer finger, tickling her slightly.
How long's it been since she's been inside her girlfriend?
Oh, too long.
The vertebrae haven't been severed since... Of course none of the students here seem strong enough to cleave through both the vertebral column and the attached muscles in the neck in a single blow.
Ron stretched her neck out to observe in detail. Noticed that several small cut marks had been left on the vertebrae. Oh, damn.
You see, so it wasn't a single precise strike that severed the soft tissues of the neck apart like this. When the culprit attacked, their weapon was blocked by the vertebrae. After merged, they must have had to apply multiple cuts to expand the wound to such a startling degree.
Okay, that just got startlingly brutal.
That's all the clues the wounds can provide. Let's see if there's any other clues. Yeah, Twin, a lot's going on.
Yeah. I think that's all we have to see here. We can X out of here.
Ibuki seems very practiced at this.
Thomas spoke in a quiet voice to Makoto. Maybe she's watched too many police procedurals.
Police procedurals? I mentioned back when she showed up in the classroom. No matter how you look at it, her claims she got here by getting lost are highly suspicious, not to mention how she says that she's just an ordinary high schooler.
Miho paused a bit, looking at Ron's silhouetted back before continuing.
Perhaps Ibuki-san has her reasons to keep her secrets, though.
Hey, character growth.
Yeah.
Ron stood up and approached the students who were whispering amongst themselves.
I finished investigating the corpse and picked up a few clues, but I'm not a coroner and I can't determine the time of death. Okay, you said you're the school nurse here, right? And you perform an autopsy. What do you think?
Ron shrugged.
I don't think. Well, the way you acted so cavalier about this, I figured you'd have a whole procedure in place for this by now.
Looks like you recovered quite well. If you got the spare energy to snark at us.
I'm serious about wanting to know if there's anyone among you who can perform a corpse autopsy. Time of death of the victim is connected to the window of opportunity for the culprit to act, and thus to all of our alibis. Knowing it would be very helpful for eliminating suspects.
Wow, she does sound like she's on a cop drama. I was too embarrassed to talk like that the first time I investigated. Ron-chan sure is incredible.
As a reminder, they are doing this for fun.
Yeah. I assume so excited she was practically about to clap.
Now it's you all's turn to make fun of me, huh? Otherwise, right now, the only time frame we have to work with is Yurino's testimony about when she last saw Miss Sakura. If she's not lying, then Miss Sakura was killed sometime between when Yurino saw her and when the class president reached the classroom.
I'm not lying. If I were lying, I'd just not say anything at all about having seen Sakura this morning.
Unless it's a double bluff.
After all, right now, it looks like my testimony is the only way you have to determine when Sakura was killed.
We don't know that for sure. If you killed Miss Sakura far earlier than that, then it might serve you to lie about having seen her alive, and in fact she was already dead by that point. Oh, the blood had yet to completely dry, so even if there's some error in the timing, it probably isn't that far off. Could have been anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour earlier, though.
Side lifted her eyebrows and nodded as though she'd been enlightened. If we're just talking hypotheticals, then sure, I guess.
No matter what, Miss Sakura's death could not have happened any earlier than that. So let's start from the assumption that Yurino's not lying, and start eliminating possibilities.
Koizumi nodded, looking happy that Ron was fitting in so well in the group's normal dynamic.
Hey, Ibuki-san, we'll all cooperate with you. Wow, it looks like Ron's having fun.
Yeah.
President. What is it, Ibuki-san? You realize that the most suspicious people right now are Yordo, who is swimming at the poolside, and you, who arrived the latest to class beside her?
Oh,
Besides her?
did we uncover a clue by finding something squishy in her bag?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Is that so? Oh, I get it, because I arrived last in class. I had more time than anyone else to kill Sakura-san. Plus, I'm in the same dorm room she is. You what?
Oh no.
Correct. And besides the fact that I could not have possibly killed Miss Sakura, both by the time frame and motives, motives are not a thing here, Ron. The person that's least suspicious to me is Indo, who brought me to class this morning. Considering the possibility that Indo and Yorino are working together, I can't eliminate her as a suspect entirely.
Because Sai did leave us in Tana's hands when she went off to go swim.
Do they have an accomplice rule for this one? Working together. Would the culprit review this time really look for an accomplice to help her? You drew the culprit? What kind of rule is that? Well, you see, in Danganronpa roleplay, when no one volunteers for the killer.
We roll the dice and pick a culprit and a victim, and you guys go off and plan your thing on your own.
Let me explain. Put simply, the culprit and victim are drawn by lots. Of course, besides the murderer, no one knows who drew the victim lot. We can explain this in more detail afterwards. It's not relevant to your investigation at the moment. For now, just note that though an accomplice situation isn't very likely, it can't be ruled out. There are so many bizarre rules. Do they really treat this kind of thing as a game?
They do, actually.
It's fun.
Quite a lot, yeah.
In that case, you're not freed of suspicion either, since you and Toyama arrived at class together, and you can't provide alibis for each other anymore. Finally, we have Asakura. She's less suspicious than the class president, but not by much. So, therefore... You can't trivialize this just by excluding those with alibis, huh?
You know what this means. Strip trial.
No.
The classic trope.
With no ulterior motives for the local lesbian.
Correct.
Ibuki-san, it's true that you can indeed confirm the identity of the culprit with a method like this sometimes. However, remember that you still have to accurately recount the culprit's methods before Ann's resurrection can take place. I know.
Which means we need to find the murder weapon. Hearing Miho say the word resurrection again, Ron realized once more that what she was trying to do here could only be described as utter ridiculousness. It was the only choice she had.
No, the key question is whether Yorino actually saw Miss Sakura, as well as what Miss Sakura came here for. I think this is all I can get out of their testimonies. No?
Ron gently touched the notebook in her jacket's pocket from outside.
Let's use the notebook. Got some ideas, but I'd like to think by myself for a moment. I'll find somewhere quiet to get my thoughts in order. I'll leave Miss Sakura's corpse to you all. Wait, why not tell us what you're thinking so we can help discuss your ideas with you?
Yeah, wouldn't it be better to think together? Ron stopped at the door and turned to look towards Aya Toyama.
Sure, maybe. But just how exactly do you expect me to trust you all?
President.
Beauty.
Notes. Ron looked around for a while to find a suitable place, ultimately settled on a patch of grass outside the school building, and sat down with her back on a schoolhouse wall.
Please, help me. It doesn't matter how much of my blood you want this time. Just find the correct recall point that will let me save Miss Sakura.
Oh. Ron extracted the notebook from her jacket. She gently caressed the cover and raised her head to let Ann touch the thumb to her face. She knew that Ann wasn't actually here, of course. It was just that each of her recalls were always preceded by the same hallucination, that Ann Sakura was right there by her side. Hallucinations were her constant companion, of course, but it was always Ann's illusion that was strongest, right before she performed the recall. the point where she could almost smell the fragrance of her beloved's body. It was a warm scent, a fragrance that belonged only to Ann's body. Ron lowered her head, flipped to an empty page of the notebook, and pressed the 5 fingers of her right hand against the page. Blood for blood. Let's begin.
Yeah.
As soon as Ron spoke, it was as if a switch had been flipped. Fingertips heated up, and blood began to seep out through the grooves of her fingerprints. Oh, we are recalling.
Yeah.
The instant that the blood came into contact with the paper, it was absorbed into the pages. Like an appetizer, the first drop of blood had fully ignited the notebook's gluttony. Ron's fingers bled faster and faster, the red bloodstains spreading across the page before being instantly absorbed. The more the notebook drank, the more insatiable it became. The blood flew from her fingers at an alarming speed, even making tiny splashes against the surface of the page. Oh! Finally, the rate of bleeding began to outpace the rate at which the notebook could absorb the blood, and the page began staining itself red. Hey, stop! Concerning!
Maybe some blood there.
Concerning! Fran pulled her hand up, waving the notebook, scattering a lingering crescendo of blood on the lawn in front of her. She wiped her fingers off the pages quickly to get all the remaining stains off. Naturally, her fingers remained unblemished as usual.
Look, I know I told you could drink as much as you wanted, but this is way too much. If you get drunk, who's going to help me here?
Blood drunk. As the blood lingering on the page was gradually absorbed, the notebook returned to its usual appearance, free of even a single bloodstain. Ron sighed.
This should be enough, right?
Ron flipped through the pages until she reached the recall tab. As she'd hoped, a new recall point had been formed. Special recall. Ooh.
I understand. So this is the meaning of the recall point you found this time. If I decide to go at that moment to go along with Yorino, I can see for myself whether she saw Miss Sakura and determine the exact time frame of the incident. Given plenty of indistinct recall points in the past, since I've had to try multiple times before I understood their meanings. But this time you've been quite precise. I guess you also want to do everything you can to help me revive Miss Sakura, huh?
Lovely blood notebook wants to help her reunite us. How sweet.
Yeah. Hey, Ron, where do you get this?
Where'd you get the blood notebook? Is this the same notebook that you eat pages of to fuel your brain?
That you've compared to Sakura's skin?
Yeah.
Let's begin recalling.
On recall mode. Oh boy. Branch recalls. Previous points where decision was made. Investigation recalls. Okay. Murder victim. New recall content is available when the victim has been confirmed. Special recalls, important clues. Okay, investigate recall is just investigate the corpse. Special recall. This morning, after bidding farewell to Ron and Tama, Sai visited the swimming pool by herself, making her into a critical witness for Ann Sakura's true time of death. Had Ron decided to visit the swimming pool with Sai at that time, I'd be able to get Ann Sakura's exact time of death, or perhaps even be able to see Ann herself. Let's go. Hey, Sai. Oh.
Whoosh. All right, let's start from here.
Start playing Ghost Trick 4 minutes from death. Tara had raised herself to the tips of her toes as she spoke to open the washroom's mirror. She took out a toothbrush that was still sealed in its packaging and handed it to Ron. By now, Sai Yorino had finished washing up. She gave Ron a pat on the shoulder and waved farewell to Tama before departing for the dormitory's depths.
But this way I'm going to encounter Miss Sakura in advance as well, won't I? What might that lead to? Even if I really do run into her, I have to remember to retreat from the recall. I can't stay here for too long. Alright, let's begin.
Ron called to Sai, stopping her in her tracks.
Hold on, Yorino.
What's the matter?
It's neat how she sees herself from third person this time.
Yeah, that's neat.
Could I visit the swimming pool with you? I'd like to see what the swimming pool here is like.
Oh, and all pools pretty much the same everywhere? So I was about to turn it apart, but perhaps upon noticing that Tama's huge eyes were filled with ignorance, she suddenly changed her mind. Well, whatever. Feel bad about trying to foist you off on Tom anyways. Come with me then.
As my past self is thinking that, compared to the schoolhouse which she'd already investigated the night before, the unexplored swimming pool is worth visiting more. That's why she's choosing to chit-chat with Sayoriano. Yep, the recalls are as logical and reasonable as ever. That's reassuring. So this isn't explicitly time travel, it's more like peeking into an alternate universe?
Logically making a different decision and seeing how things play out. Yeah. I could, yeah. Yeah, not time travel, just, yeah, like
imagination.
Branch travel. Yeah, exactly.
Hold on a moment. I'll be done brushing my teeth soon.
Ron brushed quickly. It didn't take her long for her to gargle and rinse. After that, she cleaned the cup and placed it back on the counter.
Let's go.
All right, Indo. We'll be off then. Tama lightly bowed to the two of them.
Very well. See you again, Yorino-san and Ibuki-san.
Pool. Well, here we are. So, ta-da, the pool. Neat, huh?
Aren't all pools pretty much the same everywhere?
Seeing her full sprite, she is. I see how she got called Raccoon. It is cute. Sai lightly swiped at Ron with her swimsuit bag. You're the one who asked to see it? Alright, enough talk. Come with me to the changing room. Wait, do you expect me to go swimming too? You game?
You expect me to go swimming too?
Oh wait, I did it again. Of course, those who come to the swimming pool must be prepared for swimming.
Look, even if you phrase it like it's some kind of deep quote or something, there's no way I'm going swimming. It's way too cold for it.
Oh, come on. There's nothing to be afraid of. It'll be fine as long as you do warm-ups. Plus, I'll be by your side. Sai pointed toward a few buildings on the side of the pool as she spoke. Some spare swimsuits in the showers there. Should be the one we can wear somewhere.
Showers are over there, but...
The direction that Sai was pointing was in the exact opposite direction as the location where Ann Sakura's corpse would eventually be found.
Showers are over there. And what's that on the other end?
Ron pointed toward the other end of the pool, where she thought the showers were located.
Good thing I'm so perceptive when it comes to strange details as usual. If she hadn't asked, I'd have to go ask Gorno again afterwards. Good job, me. That would have been awkward.
Oh, those are the old showers over there. I basically never visit them. I mean, it's not like they don't work or anything, but there's no need to run all the way over there since we got newer showers right here. The old showers don't even have changing rooms, which makes changing a pain.
So, according to this, she's used the old showers before. Or maybe she's just speaking from experience.
Sai grabbed Ron's wrist and dragged her forwards. Alright, come on. We've only got an hour left until class meeting starts, so let's hurry it up. Trust me, a morning swim is the best way to energize yourself. You'll love it.
Absolutely not. I'll freeze to death.
I will throw you in there directly. Sai suddenly started laughing and pulled Ron to her side, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. Uh-oh. Lift.
What?
The first time I took my little sister swimming in the winter, she dug her heels in just like you. If you would have experience using showers, I'd be very concerned otherwise. Hey, Manji, how we doing?
Hi, Manji.
After that, she hounded me to go swimming together with her every day. I'm sure it's going to be the exact same with you. Hey, Manji, we are in our imagination finding clues to solve a murder.
And also we gay.
Very gay.
I don't actually know if this game has multiple endings. But it is very you.
Very
Won't be the same. Your sister must have some swimming DNA, just like you. Whereas I, on the other hand, am a purely terrestrial organism.
I'm raccoon-coded. Oh, the way you make excuses is just like her, too. Let's go.
Don't! Thank goodness I didn't actually choose to come here with Yorino at that time.
After that, Sai tried to get Ron to take a long swim, but Ron gave up right for her first dip into the pool. declaring that she absolutely couldn't bear it anymore. Masai was forced to give up and exit the pool. She quickly changed back into her uniform before she sat down by the side of the pool and began tying her hair back up with her hands while she soaked her feet in the water, waiting for Ron. Oh my god. Ron, on the other hand, was still shivering on her own in the dressing room, her movements quite literally glacial.
What's going on? Miss Sakura still hasn't shown up, and... This was absolutely not worth it. Even if this is just a recall, I can still viscerally feel exactly what the me that made this decision must be feeling right now, which is cold.
Very, very cold.
And to think that Yorino imagined that I would get hooked on swimming with her after this, I'm never going back to the swimming pool in the winter, not even if it kills me. Anyway, seriously, what's taking Miss Sakura so long? Was Yorino actually just lying? Remember when she arrived at the classroom, it was almost 7:10, and now...
Clock in the dressing room showed that the time was 6:42.
Well, it's still early. Maybe if I wait a little longer.
Suddenly she heard muffled sounds of speech from outside the dressing room. Uh-oh.
One's here.
Girlfriend senses tingling.
I can't hear them clearly, though. Is that Miss Sakura's voice? There's some distance to the swimming pool from here, and there's a door between us, not to mention how Yorino won't stop splashing her feet in the pool. She is making so much noise.
Ron dressed herself again, leaving only her jacket behind. She suddenly noticed that her hair hasn't dried yet, so she picked up a towel again and started wiping it off. Fortunately, the noise the towel made against her hair completely drowned out the sounds of conversation on the outside.
Darn you, me. I said that I can only experience my self-perception during recall. If only I could control myself and step through the door.
Ah, that's right. Instinctive Ron stays huddled up in here. She can't actively go after the voices.
And I could see you again, Miss Sakura.
So yes, Banji, we are very gay, but we are currently purely gay for Miss
Our
Sakura.
girlfriend who's been missing for 4 years.
And who is also the murder victim we are investigating.
And also is our therapist.
Also is our therapist. It is a very complicated relationship.
I don't think we've started seeing a new therapist.
Indeed. We are still mourning our last therapist, after all. Still looking for her.
And still experiencing a lot of schizophrenic hallucinations.
Indeed. There's also
I think she's the paranoid type.
There's also the notebook that feasts on our blood. That sounds like severe conflict of interest. Yeah. Ron noticed the
Don't
sign
worry
outside,
about it.
but decided not to leave the dressing room.
The present me is definitely thinking that there's no need to rush out to see who Yorino's talking to, since I'd run into them sooner or later. But I hadn't imagined that it could have been Miss Sakura.
By the time Ron finished drying her hair, the conversation outside the room had long since concluded. When she opened the door and returned to the swimming pool, all she saw was Yorino by herself.
At the edge of the swimming pool, there's a trail of shoes and extend forward. Sai's feet are still bare and she's still in the pool. Without a doubt, these prints must have been left by someone else. Not guaranteed to be Miss Sakura, though. If Yorino's the culprit, the other person is an accomplice. If that were the case, then Yorino wouldn't have brought me to the swimming pool. The fact that I fled the swimming pool so quickly came as a surprise to her. She'd clearly been hoping I'd stick around a bit longer.
True. I'm a Persona player. Not worrying about things that I should probably worry about is my specialty. True.
Play the Caligula effect, too.
Yes.
There's so many things to not worry about there.
That's Manji. I know Manji is playing the Caligula effect, too.
Ooh.
Manji is still on the final dungeon, I believe.
What?
Or I should say they were on the final dungeon when they last left off.
Oh. If I really had kept swimming, I would have gotten to see the person she spoke with myself.
We'll get around to finishing that at some point, I swear. We will hound you.
Please.
You have stepped into the Caligula pit here. Frey is the one who got me.
Regretto-sama!
Regret-sama! As you can see, I am currently Regret-sama. just because that's my Discord icon. But
Love to see it.
we'd love to see it. And yes, we are here with Freya, who got me into the clinking effect 2 in the first place, and we will both hound you. We will T-pose around you, Manji, until you finish it. We will
You
T-pose
don't want to leave
aggressively.
Regret-sama hanging, do you?
Right. You gotta go see Regret-sama.
Oh, these prints do indeed most likely belong to Miss Sakura. Were you talking to someone just now?
Yep. First time seeing her visiting the swimming pool at a time like this, actually. Actually, it's rare to see her at the pool, period.
No one else came here to swim? You're telling me there's someone else on this planet who can go swimming on a winter morning other than you, Yorino? Did she and I just slip past each other in the world of the recall point?
Hey, didn't you just go swimming with me? Don't act like it's so weird.
Miss Sakura.
Honestly, I was curious too, so I asked her what she was doing here. She's also carrying a bag in one hand. Probably a swimsuit? She said she was just here to make a delivery to someone, not to go swimming herself.
Only I pushed that door, but I have seen a living Miss Sakura with my own eyes. We could have
Delivery
made out
for
sloppy style.
Yeah.
A delivery? You're saying there's someone else here besides us? I didn't notice at all.
Mm-hmm. None of our classmates apparently got the urge to go swimming all of a sudden. They showed up even earlier than we did. They've finished swimming by now. Huh.
Sakura, I miss you. You're not going to ask her to swim with you?
Eh. Nah. Sai stood up, wiped her feet, and put her shoes on.
Bruno's braided her hair back up. It seems she unties her braids before swimming and before going to bed. Braids look good on her.
Yeah, that's a good look
Looks like
for her.
she's quite adept at braiding her own hair at this point.
Swimming with you today was pretty nice, so I'm plenty satisfied. I didn't get much swimming done, but I did get to tease the hell out of you. Little sister, big sister, little sister style.
What, really? We hardly swam for that long at all. Figured you'd want more.
Yeah, that'd probably be the case normally, but... Sai stretched lazily, then leaned in, placing her hand on Ron's shoulder. She was so close that Ron could smell the shampoo on her, the same as Ron's own. Swimming with you reminds me a lot of playing with my little sister. Been a long time since I've seen her, so it was pretty nice.
That sister is definitely dead, right?
Absolutely. No question. It'll be a pain to put on my swimsuit back on at this point.
I'm guessing that last one's the real reason, huh?
Sai laughed, giving no answer, and took Ron's hand. Oh.
Okay, no opening the notebook in a recall.
I'm currently...
Makes sense since she doesn't have physical control of herself.
That makes sense. Took Ron's hand. Come on, I'll take you to the classroom.
Looks like this is probably going to be good enough for now. Really surprising that I was able to see a different side of Yorino as well. Not bad.
It's wholesome.
Plus affection points?
Yeah. End recall. Whoosh. Ron closed the notebook and raised her head, with her eyes closed, shivering all over. Cold out here. Cold out here, and blood drained. That is true. When submerged, she feels she can almost hear the younger sister's voice. Two of them have been apart.
Super dead.
Two of them have been apart for a long time. In the swimming pool, she seemed to regard Ron as a surrogate younger sister. I can see it. Still nice hair. I bet you the bracelet belonged to her sister.
Oh, yeah.
I'm making that call right now.
Would look Junie because it belonged to a younger girl.
Yes. Alacrity, yes. I translated
I haven't
dexterity
quite
as
recovered from that
alacrity.
swim, Burr. She didn't even go on that swim.
Oh,
I remember that one time I got my head chopped off in a recall point. It hurt for days on end after that.
that's terrifying. I was going to say that the extent of Ron's swim was pretty much straight in. Oh, fuck, that's cold. I'm out of here, bye.
So real of her.
Honestly. Then she lowered her head and buried her face between her legs, letting out a weak groan. Mental pressure caused by the recall made her feel like someone had plunged their hand right into her cranium and blended her brain into a total mess. Yeah, Manji, there's a lot going on here.
I think this is the closest thing we have to Harry Dubois as a high school girl.
Yes. Ron is very Harry Dubois coded. And that's very real of her.
Worried about her for real.
Yeah. Ron grit her teeth and forced herself to repeatedly remember the experiences she'd had during normal time. That the things she saw in the recalls didn't get mixed in. Otherwise she'd lose her mind, or at least that's what she figured. Visioned 2 boxes of puzzle pieces in front of her. All the pieces were mixed up. All she needed to do was complete the image of Ann Sakura's smiling face on the left. It always comes back to Ann. In her imagination, Ron plucked the unnecessary fragments away and completed her lover's expression bit by bit.
It's almost done.
I don't know if she acts like a Kim to me. She's shown the clarity and focus and deduction of a Kim, but with the very alarming dysfunction of Harry Dubois.
And Harry is known as the can opener.
This is true.
All right, that's enough. The answer to this case is obvious, so let's finish the job.
Ooh.
Enough clues have been collected. Let's try and find the answer. First, let's list the questions and select the ones that are most worth considering out of them. Answers to these questions will lead me to the truth. It's thinking time.
Thinking time. Let's begin reasoning. Once all the worthwhile questions have been selected, a bubble prompt will appear on the left. Clicking on it will allow you into deduction mode. Alright, let's go top to bottom, I guess. A killer called Miss Sakura to the pool will be very helpful for discerning the culprit's identity as well as the time of the murder. It's the question worthy of contemplation. Let's write it down. Alright.
Mm-hmm.
Must need to be considered any further. Yono said that Miss Sakura only came to the swimming pool in order to deliver something that the culprit had forgotten. And while we were in the classroom, everyone was quite surprised Miss Sakura visited the swimming pool. Because as such, she was bringing something to the pool for someone else makes complete sense. Unless Yono is lying to me, but she has no reason to do so. Okay, that's gone.
Why the pool as the scene of the crime, I wonder?
That is also true. The answer to why had the culprit clean the blood off herself? That's obviously the bottles of water in the fridge. That's right. Span of time between Yono's account of it. Oh, I was saying, do you want to do deduction or I don't know?
Oh, right. That's right. The span of time between Yorino's encounter with Miss Sakura and the class president's arrival at the classroom was very short. The culprit severed Miss Sakura's carotid artery and repeated the cult multiple times. They must have gotten a large amount of blood on themselves. Based on what I recall, Miss Sakura appeared after 6:40, which means the killer had an extremely limited amount of time to commit the crime and clean the blood off themselves. This is an important question.
Recorded. Why choose the pool to save the crime?
It's very strange. Everyone in the class surely knew that Yorino always goes swimming in the morning. Even if she didn't go every day, the culprit would still have no reason to take the risk of killing Miss Sakura near the pool. The question requires further consideration.
Alright. Why is Miss Sakura the one who
identity? There's no doubt in the slightest here. Since Yorino had no reason to lie, prints on the ground prove that someone did indeed show up there. If it wasn't Miss Sakura, then it could only be the culprit. But the culprit couldn't have arrived after Miss Sakura. She would have certainly arrived in advance to wait for Miss Sakura. If at 6:40 the culprit just reached the pool and encountered Yorino, And her already limited window of opportunity would have been reduced even further. There's no reason why she would want to raise the time pressure on herself like that.
Well, that's true. That would explain... Yeah. First person goes swimming, finishes up. Text Miss Sakura to come bring her a swimsuit or something. Or a towel or something.
Yeah. Plus, the culprit definitely knew that Yorino would spend a long time swimming if she arrived at the pool. At a time like that, she would have been forced to abandon her plan due to encountering Yorino, the way it went in the recall. The culprit would definitely have chosen to arrive at the pool before Yorino to prepare beforehand. This question requires no further consideration.
Very good. How would it be determined?
That's right. Even if I deduced the culprit's entire process and even guessed her identity, as long as I have no evidence, I wouldn't be able to indict her. But at the moment, it doesn't look like I can find any reliable physical evidence, so I can only use other methods to exclude suspects. Hopefully, after I've reasoned the entire murder process out, there will only be a single possible suspect left. This question obviously requires consideration.
Clearly. Alright.
And let's begin the reasoning. Right. Those will be the 4 questions then. Let's answer them in logical order. First up, how'd the culprit call Miss Sakura to this pool? Arranged it beforehand to ask her to bring a bathing suit?
It could be.
Or is it the phone so that would explain why her phone was missing?
Oh. What happened to the phone then? I mean, they could have arranged it beforehand if they were well, class pres and I'll say phone. That's right.
That's right. Miss Sakura's phone disappeared. It's very possible that the killer took the phone because the killer used the phone to lure Miss Sakura to the swimming pool. But either the culprit didn't know Miss Sakura's phone password, or she didn't want to stoop on a fellow classmate's phone. In any case, she couldn't remove the records left by their cell phone contact. I'm sure that even if they're committing murders, they still worry about things like that. After all, they believe that mere murders can possibly terminate their ongoing relationships with the murder victims. It's just some fun. It's enrichment.
Yeah, it's class free time. It's coursework.
It's just what high school girls are into these days.
Yeah.
So, in order to prevent the text message from being found, the culprit had no choice but to hide Miss Sakura's phone. Whether the culprit's carrying it on herself or if she tossed it in some neglected corner, it wouldn't pose much of a problem for the culprit. Now, why did the culprit choose to commit murder at the swimming pool?
Remote, accomplice.
The showers?
Seems right.
That's right. Miss Sakura's corpse appeared in the old shower room, and there were no signs that the body had been dragged around. So the scene of the crime was likely to have been right there. In combination with Miss Sakura's reason for visiting the pool, the reason why she appeared in the shower room becomes obvious as well. Culprit lied and said the thing she'd forgotten to bring was related to the shower room, which was why Miss Sakura trusted her and entered the shower room. So, rather than to say that the culprit tricked Miss Sakura into visiting the swimming pool, it's more accurate to say that she tricked Miss Sakura into visiting the showers.
Alright, this is coming together.
Since in the shower, the culprit can easily wash off all the bloodstains, while also making the act of calling Miss Sakura out seem very natural. The thing she said she forgot to bring was very possibly her school uniform. She probably spun Miss Sakura's story about how she'd accidentally gotten water on the uniform she brought or something. Then, after Miss Sakura brought a set of replacement clothes into the shower, the culprit, who was wearing a swimsuit, cut open Miss Sakura's neck, getting blood all over herself in the process. But because she was wearing a swimsuit and because there was a shower right there, the culprit was able to clean off the bloodstains very quickly and head to class. Alright, that explains why the culprit chose to make their move near the pool. As well as how they cleaned up the bloodstains all at once.
So the squelchy bag in class president's bag was bloody clothing.
And I remember, back in the classroom, the class president almost fell, and I stepped forward to catch her. I'm actually not sure what happens here if you didn't go for that. At that time, I noticed she had something in her handbag.
Instant replay.
Oh, Fred.
Instant replay, recall style. Ron dashed forward, catching Koizumi with her left hand and her school bag with her right.
Okay, President. Fine, thank you.
Closeness.
Doki, my voice has gotten higher since last time.
Fits the situation. Ron noticed that Koizumi had taken a very sharp intake of breath just then. She'd been panicked or scared about something. Ron decided to say something to try and calm her down.
Asmi would surely never have thought of such a thing. It's all thanks to Miss Sakura's support that I've become capable of engaging with and even helping strangers. You smell nice.
And wait till you see what she says next.
Miss Class President, you smell quite lovely this morning. What brand of shampoo do you use? Oh, she's got a soft smile and everything. Lovely, is it not lovely?
She's got a soft smile and suffering raccoon eyes. Dark circles.
I don't remember this morning I used someone else's shampoo while showering at the dorms.
Oh. Koizumi's hands clung lightly onto Ron's shoulders, and the pace of her breathing quickly became quite irregular.
Oh, wait, what's this?
Squelch, squelch. Ron happened to still be holding onto Koizumi's school bag with her right hand. She noticed that she could feel a strange texture in her palm.
What is this in here? It's soft, not like a textbook at all, and when I apply pressure, it makes a sound. Plastic bag. It feels like there's something thick and slippery inside it.
Oh yeah, there we go.
I can show you something thick and slippery, baby. Ibuki-san, I'm fine now. Excuse me.
Ron let go, allowing Koizumi to stand up on her own. Only then did she notice that Koizumi was blushing furiously, that she was studiously avoiding Ron's eyes.
Is there something wrong, President? Do you have a fever? No, just... You embraced me just now. I got a little nervous and my heartbeat got a little disarrayed.
A little doky.
And begged you for a comedian, Class President. No, I was just... No, never mind.
Aya suddenly rose with a shout. Class President, did I just see you and the transfer student embracing each other?
What? No, Ibuki-san just stopped me from falling, that's all.
Whoa. Not nothing.
You clearly also saw me almost trip, didn't you, Toyama-san? Don't make fun of Hinata.
Okay, got it. After Miho finished speaking, Aya sat down in her seat obediently. Uh-huh.
Sit. Inside her bag was definitely the swimsuit she wore while she was murdering Miss Sakura. Yorino said this morning that the dormitory bathroom had no running water. She clearly didn't know about that.
Oh, she did misspeak.
So couldn't have washed her hair there. That's the only reason why she'd say something like that. Looks like she was blushing and nervous because she was worried that I'd become suspicious of her, and no other reason.
No other reason whatsoever. Your shampoo smells nice. Your shampoo smells nice. It was like Miss Sakura.
Guess I overthought that situation.
A little bit.
It's basically confirmed that the culprit is the class president. Head back, explain the process of the crime, and indict her. She won't struggle too much and just admit it outright. Don't want to waste time going back to the classroom to search her handbag. just want to see Miss Sakura as soon as possible.
After Ran finished organizing her thoughts, she returned to the old showers. Saw Tama Indo and Makoto Asakura kneeling next to Ann Sakura's corpse, discussing something together. The others were apparently chatting merrily together about what was on the dormitory's menu for lunch. Oh, Ibuki, you done? That was pretty fast. They noticed Ran. Sai and Miho came over immediately. Miho came quite close, inspecting Ran's face carefully.
You look better than before. Does your head still hurt? Nah. Anyway, let's get to the point. I've already figured out the culprit and the method.
Hearing Ran's words, the conversation slowly died as everyone clustered together next to Ran. Wow, already? Is that a new record for shortest time? The case solved from Ran, then?
Yes, it does seem it only took her half an hour since the discovery of Sakura-san's body to find the answer. So, Ibuki-san, who is the culprit?
Tama Indo was visibly overflowing with curiosity.
I want to hurry up and bring Miss Sakura back to life, too, so I'm not going to waste any more time. I don't intend to explain how I deduced it either. Once I explain the process, everyone will understand it.
Enough of the preamble, just hurry up and spit it out. Ran looked at the emotionally provoked Sai and thought about what she'd seen in the recall.
If I were to mention Yorino's younger little sister right now, she'd probably freak out. Let's begin. I will simply not worry about it.
Yeah. She thought about it for a moment.
I'm going to begin describing the culprit's complete methodology now. Firstly, either this morning or immediately after you determined the culprit and victim via picking lots. The culprit mentioned to Miss Sakura that she was feeling like she was in the mood to go swimming that morning.
Oh, the
Oh,
artsy.
cute.
The artsy. Oh. Ooh, I didn't know you knew how to draw, Ibuki. Even if your drawings kind of suck. Hey, they're cute.
Mean to her. Look, if you can understand the picture, then it's good enough. It'll be clearer than me trying to explain everything with just words, at least. He is drawing these in character.
In character, in real time. Well, if we're limiting ourselves to just comprehension, then it's fine, I suppose. Continue.
Yorino sure likes to pick fights with me.
Not mean-spirited like how Miho came off, though.
Are my drawings really that bad, though?
No. Keep cooking, girl.
Precious.
We love him.
Afterwards, the culprit got up early as planned and headed to the swimming pool.
Change scenes? Oh, that's cool.
But in actuality, she intentionally avoided the new shower room that Yorino frequently used and headed to the less convenient old shower rooms.
That was a cool transition. Oh.
Yeah. And the culprit called Miss Sakura on her phone. Beep. She lied to Miss Sakura over the call, telling her that she got her school uniform wet by accident, and asked Miss Sakura to bring a spare uniform over.
Moshi Moshi. Help. Oh, now that you mention it, I remember Sakura was indeed carrying something when she ran into the old showers.
The recalls Yorino left the swimming pool earlier due to my presence, allowing her to encounter Miss Sakura and confirm that she was indeed holding something in her hand. But in reality, I didn't follow her, and so she and Miss Sakura missed each other.
Huh.
So, according to comments, she saw Miss Sakura while she was in the water. She still would have greeted her. As long as the two of them spoke at all, it would have been quite easy for Miss Sakura to expose the identity of the person who called her to the pool, right?
Right.
Well, in the recall, Yorino and Miss Sakura didn't mention that person's name, even after they spoke face to face. I'm starting to understand why they said Miss Sakura is always cooperative, so it wouldn't have been surprising for anybody to ask her to help bring something to the pool. Because she's so kind-hearted, she is like an angel.
Exactly.
Very personally upsetting.
Personally upsetting. Yeah.
I'll continue. So, Miss Sakura did as the culprit told her and brought the school uniform to the old shower room. She draws her in so much more detail. Ibuki-san suddenly putting a lot more effort into her drawings now. Well.
Oh, looks like Sakura's the only one she cares about drawing properly, huh? They still suck ass, though. They do not.
I think Ibuki-san's quite good at drawing. Mostly how quickly she's drawing them, I mean. So, Indo's saying my art has no other redeeming qualities besides speed, huh?
Oh, mean to her.
Can you all stop interrupting me? Can we just stop bringing up my art? I'm sorry, Ibuki-san, please proceed.
Miho, I don't think Ron-chan's complaining about you.
Oh, very perceptive of you, Toyama. Anyways, I'm continuing. I noticed that the old showers didn't seem to have dedicated changing rooms, so the culprit could have used this as an excuse to have Miss Sakura bring the school uniform in.
Oh, that's right. We're over at the new shower rooms, and Ann could place the clothes in the dressing room and just left. The culprit deliberately chose the old side, not just to avoid Sai, but also to lure Ann into the old shower room.
Lucky that Toyama volunteered that information about the new shower room just now. I did only learn the difference between the new and old shower rooms in the recall, after all. In their eyes, I shouldn't know these things. Do they look like they're gonna question things?
Right. They've been killing each other and coming back to life repeatedly now. I don't think they'll. I don't think it will bother them. But no. Even if it were on the old side, Ann still could have put the clothes on the ground before leaving, right?
Yeah, Ann wouldn't have done that. Correct, Miss Sakura would never just leave a classmate's clothes on the floor so casually. She definitely would have brought them inside, so that she could have the culprits tell her where they should be placed, because she's so kind-hearted.
Absolutely.
She's the perfect woman.
Perfect. Ah, that makes sense. Ann's were really good, real goody two-shoes, after all.
That's right. Miss Sakura's really kind. Not just to me, but even to... I can't let myself get distracted. The situation's not over yet. The culprit, meanwhile, had been waiting in the old showers for Miss Sakura. Miss Sakura entered entirely unaware of the female bathroom sign holding a knife. Well, maybe not if she's the way you all described her. Maybe she was fully aware that the culprit planned to kill her, but she still entered the old showers without any hesitation. After the two of them came face to face, Miss Sakura saw the other party held a weapon.
Fully detailed rear profile of Miss Sakura versus female bathroom sign. It's beautiful.
And then... the culprit rushed in and used a sharp implement of some kind to rip open Miss Sakura's neck. That says blood.
Oh.
Initially, the culprit seemingly couldn't make a very large incision, so she began cutting repeatedly.
Checking something.
That's a really good use of a simplistic art style.
Yeah, that was effective. Let's see. Back. Alacrity of 3. It says alacrity of 7. Alacrity of 5. Mio is weaker. Aya is shockingly strong.
Mm-hmm.
Tama is stronger.
It's from all that housemaid work.
Yeah. Tama is stronger than Hinata and Miho. Curious, wow, so Mio's actually last in terms of strength. Hinata's second to last.
Yeah, so I guess it's more in terms of reaction speed?
Possibly, yeah. Cutting. Many blood.
Blood gushed forth from Miss Sakura's neck, but the culprit didn't let up on her assault. She is so mad. She wanted to kill Miss Sakura quickly because she didn't have a lot of time left, and also because she didn't want to let Miss Sakura be tormented by the agony of slowly bleeding out. I don't think she needed to get in this much detail.
Yeah.
And finally, after several brutal cuts from the culprit, Miss Sakura's neck reached the state we see now. At the same time, a large amount of blood splashed onto the culprit.
I think she's just really feeling it, Scoob.
But the culprit had changed into a swimsuit in advance, and after Miss Sakura fell, she easily washed off the bloodstains by using the showers. So that's how it happened.
Damn, how'd you erase that? That was effective.
And just like with any other premeditated crime, the next thing the culprit had to do was dispose of the evidence.
And before she didn't erase the drawing, she just tore it up and ate it. Oh, duh, of course she did.
You're only saying duh because I specifically pointed out just now. If I hadn't, you probably would have assumed that you needed to start searching for clues directly at the scene of the crime. It would have been a huge waste of time to search aimlessly like that. The correct approach for this case is to start from the fact that the murderer needed to eliminate the evidence and to reason carefully from there. I understand what you mean, Ibuki-san. To sum it all up, by focusing on the pieces of evidence the culprit would need to dispose of, we can determine how the killer disposed of it, and thus deduce the killer's movements afterwards and find more useful clues that way.
Ah, Ibuki-san. You wouldn't have to be a police officer, would you? You wouldn't have to be a narc.
But are you a cop? I wouldn't know.
You're quite an interesting person, then.
So, Ibuki-san, based on what you've described, what kind of evidence would the culprit need to discard after this?
You tell me, Koizumi.
Firstly, the bloodstains of the culprit were already washed off in the shower. After that, there were 2 pieces of physical evidence that needed to be eliminated. One of them was the weapon that was used to harm Miss Sakura.
Bloop, bloop.
Bloop, bloop.
Rifle alert.
And the dripping wet swimsuit which might have still smelled of blood.
Hang on, what about the phone? If we found the phone, we could just check the text message logs to figure out who lured Sakura here, right?
Would you really look through Miss Sakura's phone without her express permission?
If you say yes, you are going on a list. Well, sure, even if I didn't know the password, I just used Sakura's corpse to unlock it. You were going on a double list.
Chrono-san. As I see it, if we could unlock the phone, we'd be able to see the text the culprit sent, and the whole case would be solved instantly. This is why I'm confident that the killer kept the phone with the swimsuit, rather than throwing it away somewhere random. Let me continue explaining, and it'll become clear.
Yeah, okay.
And I'll continue. The killer didn't have much time to clean up after the murder was done. I don't recall that any of you expressed surprise that anybody was early or late to class. Yes? That's right. Well, usually Asakura-san arrives together with me.
I just couldn't get up at the same time as you today, because you were on duty this morning, and we went to bed really late last night.
It's alright. Tomorrow we can start coming to the classroom together again.
Oh. Mio and I showed up today at the time we usually show up together.
Mm-hmm. Hinata arrived at her usual time as well, and in the past, on days when Yorino-san went swimming before class, she usually made it to class around the same time that she did today.
Well, I go swimming every day, more or less.
Alright.
Hourglass.
I think that says time in there.
Ooh.
And Yorino headed to the pool this morning. The direction she headed in was more or less opposite the direction that Indo and I took to reach the schoolhouse. The layout should be roughly something like this. Here's the swimming pool. The culprit set out from here after killing Miss Sakura. And here's the dormitory. After the culprit left the swimming pool, they headed toward the dormitory. Of course, she did make a trip back to the dormitory just to cause trouble for herself. And it's not like the pool and dormitory are actually in a straight line with each other. But the direction she walked in and the distance she traveled ought to have been comparable to a trip to the dormitory, or even further than that. Finally, the culprit arrived at the schoolhouse and met us. The culprit had to make sure, despite having to travel from the pool to the classroom, a journey much longer than their usual, that they could still arrive at the classroom at their usual time. So, she couldn't have had an opportunity to slowly dispose of those pieces of evidence. Thus, there are only two possibilities for how those pieces of evidence could have been handled. Either the culprit threw away the evidence somewhere on the trip to the classroom, or the culprit brought the evidence with them and rushed up to the classroom directly.
Oh. I can't unsee the women's bathroom sign.
In fact, the one on the left is recycling.
Yeah.
A murder weapon is not a big deal. Whether or not there's equipment for checking fingerprints here, it doesn't prevent the murderer from making sure she didn't leave any fingerprints behind. He could have picked any random place to toss it, and even if it was discovered, it'd have been tough to deduce the murder process from the weapon alone, since it'd just have been an ordinary sharpened implement. The critical thing was the wet swimsuit. Anybody who saw an inexplicable swimsuit lying around outside of the changing room could easily deduce the process of the murder. Though the culprit couldn't take the risk that it'd be found by throwing it away, and could only choose to bring it with them, for the same reason they took the phone as well. So we just need to see whose bag has a swimsuit in it then.
Well, not necessarily. The culprit didn't throw the swimsuit away haphazardly. Rather prepared a hiding spot in advance, she could have gotten it as soon as she passed by. Then she wouldn't need to carry it on her, right? Which is here. Here.
The possibility does exist, but the conditions for it are very strict. Firstly, the culprit had to be confident that the hiding spot could actually hide something effectively, and that it wouldn't require them to spend too much time covering it back up. And the hiding spot had to be located near the route that the culprit took to reach the classroom, or else it'd eat further into her remaining time. Not only do all these conditions have to be satisfied at once, but the culprit also would have had to make these preparations in advance without being noticed by anyone. It's safe to say that possibility is practically non-existent. But if you're insistent that the culprit's smarter than me, then you could say she came up with something, sure.
Yeah. Little smug, little humble brag there.
In that case, we'll just have to go and do a thorough search of all the locations on the trail. That's how actual police investigators would do it as well. Not that I know, I'm not a police investigator. The point is to determine what clues we're looking for, and to ensure that those clues exist and that they can indict the culprit. The rest is just elbow grease. And in this case, the clue we're looking for is that swimsuit. We'll prove that my explanation is completely accurate. We can determine the owner of the swimsuit by the time of the culprit's arrival in the classroom, and the approximate time when Yorino said she saw Miss Sakura.
Ah, I see. Before we go look all over the place for clues, we might as well search everyone's bags for a swimsuit first. That's how you think the culprit probably chose to hide it, right?
Yes.
Oh, not so fast.
Oh?
Not so fast. So I spoke suddenly. Forget about the fact that I know I have a swimsuit in my bag. Ibuki has already said she knows who the culprit is. Is to say that she could have confirmed the culprit without even needing the swimsuit as a clue. So how'd you figure out who the culprit was, Ibuki?
Yorino sure reacted quickly. Indeed, the swimsuit can be used to confirm the method of the murder, and then, combined with Miss Sakura's time of death, the killer can be determined. But to their knowledge, I didn't go with Yorino to the swimming pool, so no reason to be so confident that Miss Sakura definitely only died after 6:40. If I hadn't said that I knew who the culprit is at the start, though, I would have had to go all the way back to the classroom to go through each of their bags and confirm the culprit's identity before coming back to find Miss Sakura. I just don't want to endure this any longer. She's so tired.
She is. Doesn't matter even if you can't answer it, because your reasoning itself is a big problem in it.
Huh? I could just bring up what I noticed when I caught the class president at the morning meeting, but I'm curious what Yorno's planning to bring up here.
I'm so tired, but debate brain engaged.
That sounds conceit. The problem? What problem?
You're only so confident that the murder process you're describing, as well as the culprit that you're thinking of, are correct because of the swimsuit the culprit was wearing, right?
Well, yeah. The culprit could only clean herself off quickly by wearing a swimsuit while she was attacking Miss Sakura. If she was wearing a school uniform, that would have been way harder to clean up. Unless she was naked. Swimsuits are typically made of spandex, so it's very easy to wash off liquids that splash onto them.
You say that, but I feel like Sai might be the type of person who would suggest that.
Oh no.
But how are you so confident that such a swimsuit even exists?
What do you...
Just making an assumption, thinking that just because the culprit came to the swimming pool, she had to have had a swimsuit? Because the swimsuit had useful attributes to the culprit in your theory? So you decide she wore a swimsuit while committing the murder?
Is that not right?
Of course it isn't. There's an even better option for the killer in terms of being able to quickly wash off blood without leaving any evidence behind. Ran furrowed her brow, looking at Sai. She couldn't figure out what Sai's alternative was going to be. And actually, the foundation of Ran's reasoning was an extrapolation of the timeline. Swimsuit was just a piece of physical evidence that her reasoning touched upon. She'd hoped that the physical evidence would have caused the rest of them to overlook the importance of time in her deductions. Otherwise, Ran would be forced to explain everything about recalls.
So what better option did the culprit have other than the swimsuit?
Killer could have been naked. There it is. There it is.
Am I a mystery genius?
You truly. Seriously? I mean, I thought of it too.
Naked!
But it still sounds so ridiculous.
Yeah, actually.
That's it. Is that Makoto? Makes me want to laugh just imagining it. Imagining Ann having to face down a naked classmate.
If the killer had been naked, then as long as she started showering immediately after being splashed with blood, it'd have been just as effective as if she was wearing a swimsuit.
Hey, Miho, you should
The
kill
girls
me
are
the same
flirting.
way. You should kill me the same way next time, too.
And it really wouldn't leave any physical evidence that way. Stop goofing around, it's not over yet. But she didn't say no.
Brad nodded. He's thinking about it.
Naked.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Also, I'm pretty sure that if I went to you naked, things would get real weird real fast.
Oh,
in what
totally
way?
moving.
I'm embarrassed just thinking about it.
Yeah, that's the idea. Yep.
Well, notwithstanding how normal murders go, in our situation, the dead come back to life eventually. Which is equivalent to letting all of our classmates see us committing a murder while naked.
Or me, I'd go naked. So long as it really worked. As it really worked, I didn't leave any clues behind.
Competitive.
But maybe the killer this time might not be as shameless as you. I feel like, compared with some of your past escapades, I'm frankly one of the most decent of our bunch. So
How many times have these girls dug and rumped at each other?
Some of your past escapades, Makoto? Anyways, Ibuki, ready to admit that you made a flaw in your reasoning?
No, because I know where the swimsuit is, and I've just been messing with you the whole time.
Oh! You little shit. Oh, where is it then?
Everyone remembers when the class president fell over at the lectern this morning?
All right, that time when Rancha and the prayers embraced.
It wasn't an embrace, she was just supporting me.
Why are you so nervous about it, Prez?
Ah, yeah?
Okay, fine. I'll stop teasing.
The nervousness the class president is feeling, and the kind that Toyama is imagining, probably aren't the same kind of nervousness.
Drawn out probably there.
Probably. While I was supporting the class president, I felt something in her bag. I didn't think too much of it at the time, but now that we're in the present situation, I'm guessing that thing was very likely a swimsuit in a plastic bag.
What? But you?
I get it, Yorno. I can't determine the class president's culprit just on this alone. The important thing was that, at the time, I asked what brand of shampoo the class president used.
Ah, there we go.
Which was completely normal of me.
Yes.
And the class president said that she used someone else's shampoo at the dorms, so she couldn't know what brand it was.
Ah.
The bathroom!
Sai and Thomas spoke simultaneously.
Class president, you didn't know, did you?
If she didn't visit the showers in the morning, there's no way she would have learned about it.
Last night, after Yorino came back from swimming, she found that the water was out in the bathroom. It still hasn't been fixed up to this morning. Yes, I've only mentioned it once to Asakura-san. I doubt she could have told anyone else yet. Yorino was just about to go get Indo to tell Asakura to fix it. So, where did you shower then? That's someone else's shampoo. Did you find it in the shower in the bathroom, or did you bring it with you yourself? It's
Kuzumi's eyes flickered all over the place, guiltily, before she lowered her head. It didn't take long before she raised her head with a bitter smile.
And to think this time I wanted to try to kill Sakura-san quickly and catch everyone by surprise. I can't believe I'd already exposed myself all the way back then. I killed Sakura-san. As Ibuki-san said, the swimsuit and the phone are in my handbag in a plastic bag. It's sad then, but...
Ron clenched her fists and just barely kept herself from charging at Koizumi and shoving her into the wall.
How could you still be capable of smiling?
Koizumi quickly packed away her smile and looked at Ran anxiously.
Sorry, I just... I shouldn't blame her. Class president wasn't motivated by malice. It was just girls having a good time.
Just girls being girls, right?
Gals being pals.
Women can't do anything these days without being judged.
Well, she probably wasn't motivated by malice.
Probably.
Thank you, class president. I'm done talking now. Miss Sakura.
Ron looked down at Ann Sakura's corpse. The corpse hadn't changed in an obvious way. The wound on Ann's neck was starting to heal, starting from the inside out. Whoa! Blood stains on the clothing disappeared like time was reversing, and the blood on the floor rapidly retracted. Vanished. Ron was certain that the blood wasn't just being sucked back into Ann's neck. The wound was the first to regrow at the incision point. Following it, like a tower ascending spirally upwards, the muscles, nerves, and blood vessels each quickly regenerated. Finally, newly grown skin spread over the wound, ultimately merging in the very center of the neck and erasing the wound completely. The whole process took less than a minute. Well done.
It really did completely. Miss Sakura! Hey, why has your uniform got an eye on it?
Oh. Ron immediately fell to the floor, reaching out to pull Ann Sakura into her lap. Ann's skin gradually regained its color, and her chest began to lightly rise and fall. The air around them filled her lungs once again.
Miss Sakura! Miss Sakura!
Is she going to open up her eyes and give Ron a big, "Who are you?" Ann Sakura slowly opened her eyes. She took her first breath. She convulsed into a cough, packing up the last bits of clotted blood left in her throat.
She really did come back to life.
Tears fell from Ron's eyes as she opened her arms wide and hugged Ann Sakura tightly. Her smell, her warmth, even the soft parts of her body. All of them were all exactly as she'd remembered. Her lover, whom she'd sought for 4 whole years, had at this moment finally returned to Ron's lap. Helplessness, anxiety, pain, loneliness, astonishment, sorrow, and joy mixed together in Ron's brain. Contrary to her passionate actions, though, her faculties of thought were already beginning to remind her that she needed to carefully consider both the causes and the consequences of these events. Right then, Ron just wanted to put all of her attention on Ann. She hugged her tighter and tighter.
Miss Sakura, I miss you. I only found you, Miss Sakura.
Who are you? Ann blinked a bit, seemingly unclear on what had happened. Noticing this, Ron let go, looking up and down at her beloved, whom she hadn't seen for so long.
Miss Sakura? Why aren't you talking? Is something still making you uncomfortable?
No, I feel quite well. Ann's voice was quite calm. Lying in Ron's lap, she turned her head toward Koizumi. You got caught then, Hinata?
And before the first session of class 2.
Ann nodded, then turned toward Ron. You're the one who caught Hinata. Ron wiped her face a few times, frowning, and continued holding tightly onto Ann's shoulders. Oh,
Miss Sakura, what's happened to you? Why are you so calm? These past few years, for the sake of finding you, I traveled all over the world and experienced all sorts of terrifying things before finally finding you here.
have you ever been cocooned by an eclipse silkworm? That was fucking terrifying.
7 days of blindness.
Yeah. And nutrients.
And it's not that I'm complaining, but Miss Sakura, don't you have anything to say to me?
She's gonna drop the, I don't know who you are, Anya.
It's been years since you've seen me as well, hasn't it? Did you miss me?
I'm not needy or anything. Ann turned her head slightly and looked at Ron's face. She had the expression of someone who was scrutinizing a piece of artwork, and it unsettled Ron. But Ron still thought that Ann's eyes, which reflected Ron's own face in them, were so beautiful. Then, after Ann blinked, something changed in her expression. And Ron saw in her eyes a sentiment which Ron thought could never have appeared between the two of them. Unfamiliarity. Who are you? That is indeed a little midget on your jacket pocket. Ann gets a sad face. It's not.
That's her, the love of my life. We're almost done with the prologue now. Miss Sakura, what are you trying to say?
Forgot to say I was lurking. Chris, help. Ron pointed at herself and started rubbing at her face repeatedly. We're still going.
That's the Elven GF.
We're almost there.
It's me, Ron Ibuki. Miss Sakura, why are you... Because the prologue is pretty long when you're reading it all out loud.
True.
Ibuki-san, is Ann really your girlfriend? Of course she is.
The sound of Ron shouting echoed in the shelled showers.
And I started all the way back in high school. Wait, that's just... What am I?
This is still only prologue? Yep.
No, that's not right. Miss Sakura and I, we should already be...
Ron had noticed that her memories and her current physical condition held contradictions which couldn't be ignored. She was bewildered with the strangeness of Ann's behavior, and she didn't have the energy left to think about other problems. The whole dilemma of why am I in a high school uniform and the 4-year gap.
And also someone here being from like the early 1900s?
Yeah. Girlfriend? Ann spoke a question. Have I met you before? Ron's eyes went wide, her pupils dilating in and out in an uncanny frequency. She almost wanted to faint even as her arms shook Ann's body back and forth.
Want to be like this, Miss Sakura? Why would you say something like that to me? You know how scared I'd be if you acted like this. You can't do this to... As a reminder, our protagonist also suffers from frequent hallucinations, so she already has a really hard time trusting her own senses.
Indeed. Ron released Ann and pulled out her own hair.
Miss Sakura, I'm begging you, if you're teasing me, just stop. Just please tell me you're lying to me. You can't have possibly forgotten. No, kid.
I'm sorry. I really don't remember you. Ron clutched at her own face with her hands. Under the pressure of her fingernails, several wounds appeared in her skin, but that didn't deter her from continuing to apply force. She struggled desperately to think of a way to call up Ann Sakura's memories again, or rather, trying to figure out how to get Ann to stop this terrible joke. Ron lifted her head and looked at Ann with pleading eyes.
Miss Sakura, you... Right, remember the time we went to the beach during the first summer of our first year of high school? We sat together on the beach and watched the moon with each other. You remember that, right? At the time, you said...
I'm sorry, I really don't remember.
And what about the first time I visited your house? You held me in your lap and we talked about...
I don't know of this.
Oh. There's more? Miss Sakura, you couldn't have possibly forgotten that time I almost gouged my own eyes out, so you tied me to a chair and took care of me for several days until I went back to normal, right?
We're so normal. I don't remember anything like that.
If I were an amnesiac, I would be very concerned about my previous self.
Indeed. Oh.
It's finally come. I couldn't stop it, and now it had breached through my defenses completely. I fell to the floor and dry-heaved without stop, making nauseating sounds whose echoes corroded my eardrums. Ibuki-san. Okay, Miho bent down and kneeled next to me, stroking my back in an effort to soothe me, but she couldn't soothe away the bleeding thorns that were now sprouting from my vertebrae.
Metaphorically. Oh, I hope.
We think. They wouldn't be satisfied with flooding forth from just my mouth. They had to tear my flesh asunder as well. I heard them, their shrill laughs, the way they mocked my loneliness, scoffed at my reclusiveness, and denied my pride.
Ran-chan? What's wrong?
Miss Ibuki. So... They were already before me, crawling on my eyes.
Oh.
I flailed and tried to shake them off, but all I managed to fling to the ground were my tears, which beat a rhythm against the floor in lockstep with my trembling. Without you, who will? Ann, you can't do this to me. Ibuki-san, that's enough. Miho took my shoulder and tried to help me to my feet, but it was no good. After all, their fangs were hovering right above my cranium. If I stood up now...
Vivid hallucination.
I'm taking you to the infirmary. Don't touch me. I looked upwards and saw they were all standing around me, staring at me, and their detritus, still connected together by strands of viscera, were crawling towards me. I needed to escape. I needed to bring Ann with me and get out of here.
Oh dear.
All of you stay away from me. Don't bully me.
Oh.
Sakura, let's go. There. My hand passed through their bodies to grab a hold of Miss Sakura's arms. I pulled her up and we ran for the exit.
Oi, Ibuki.
Chrono was trying to stop me. Was she like them as well? What was she saying? Should I listen? I won't listen.
Ooh.
I shoved Yorno out of the way and fled the showers. The sky rumbled, low and heavy, and the storm clouds billowing up above were on the verge of bursting. They'd catch up to me, and I had to get out of here. Having a bad time. Sakura, we need to go.
Go where?
Anywhere where it's just the two of us. Hurry. Miss Sakura was panting, but she was keeping up with my pace. That was good, it's just like that. So long as we ran together, they couldn't catch us.
So alarmingly nice, she's not resisting.
Quickly, we need to go quickly, or else they... I passed through the courtyard as their fragmented whispers coursed my ears. Are they about to catch me? Impossible. I could still remember the direction that Ino pointed towards. I grasped Miss Sakura's hand, letting my fingernails sink into her skin like a key that fit a lock. Ugh.
Oof.
Binding us tightly together into one. Soon the school gates were behind me. Northwest, that was the road out of here. I remember, Ino pointed it out to me. Miss Sakura, on.
Oh.
The storm arrived as anticipated, but it couldn't stop me. I raised my arms to shield my eyes and continued to sprint. We're almost there, Miss Sakura. Soon we'll be able to go back. I felt the storm blast the dirt underneath my feet into mud and sinking mud in an instant, making my steps go heavy. But I absolutely wouldn't let go. Miss Sakura was right behind me. I'd never be separated from her again. It reminds me of Orpheus and Eurydice.
Ah. Oh.
Miss Sakura's breaths grew heavier and heavier, and her pace seemingly grew disarrayed as well, but it was enough, so long as she was still by my side.
You say that, and I feel like we're... now that you put that thought out there, we are going to turn around and find that she was not there the whole time.
What if everyone is dead, actually?
Oh no.
Almost there. Almost. Nobody will be able to bully me anymore. We'll be together forever, Miss Sakura, it's... But then they came, they grabbed my feet, tripped me, caused me to lurch into a muddy pothole and stumble to the ground, pulling Miss Sakura into the mud water with me. Miss Sakura, get up quickly, we've almost made it out. The tunnel's right there. I saw it then. The dark tunnel was filled with silt and stone, blocking the exit. I couldn't run anymore. They were growing like thorns from cracks in the rubble. I'd failed. They laughed as I continued to fail, as I'd always done.
Oh.
But my escape forcefully ended. My body came to a halt as well. My brain finally began functioning again. Just when I comprehended the situation before me, they caught up to me as well. Don't... Sakura, why would you forget me? I began bawling. There was nothing left to keep my decrepit self going. They would dominate my sanity eternally, and... Sakura,
Jeez, that thunder legitimately startled me there. Ron?
The atmosphere here is so good.
Miss Sakura's voice, through the torrential rain, was so startlingly clear that I turned around sharply. Joy, shock, confusion, and tears mixed together, pouring from my eyes.
Miss Sakura, you remembered me?
Oh, Miss Sakura shook her head with a calm smile on her face. I don't remember you. Her words left me trembling. I hyperventilated, my mouth reflexively open and shut on its own, freely allowing them to pierce holes into my lips. Rainwater spilled into my throat and down my windpipe, causing me unbearable pain. But you say that I'm your beloved. So that means you love me and that my body loves you as well. You're in pain because I don't remember you. Oh. Sakura reached out and brushed away my tears. Even if you must bear the pain of having been forgotten by your beloved, are you capable of loving me as you did before? My mind rolled like a whirlpool as I...
Interesting. It's the third-person text box, but still in first person.
Go for it.
My mind roiled like a whirlpool. I tried to comprehend the words that Miss Sakura was saying, because in my understanding, the words she'd spoken were complete illogical nonsense. But the same whirlpool washed it all away. That's right. He had to be Ann Sakura. Only her voice and her expression had the power to drive them out of my mind without having to swallow a page from the notebook. It had to be her. He was my beloved.
Oh?
Or...
I am Ann Sakura.
It's Sakura!
Oh. As Ann held Ron's face, her hand wiped away the twisted hallucinations that had bombarded Ron without stop, and Ron wailed out loud.
Miss Sakura, we've missed you so much. We missed you. Don't leave me ever again. Miss Sakura.
Crying, Ron grasped Ann's hand and pressed it closely to her face. She shook her head, her inner turmoil almost piercing right through her own chest.
You are Miss Sakura. I can tell that you are Miss Sakura. Even though your personality and the way you act are all completely different from before? Why? Wait, was she not an angel before?
I don't know. Curious. Ann Sakura. Wait, he say? 969. Most charismatic. Identical to Ron's, the color scheme has been changed to that of the other students, to be different from the Ann that Ron remembers. Identical uniform to Ron, but in the Shadow the Hedgehog color scheme.
Extremely concerning.
Yeah.
I love you, Miss Sakura.
Oh. Ann shook her head, her smile unchanging. They call me by the name Ann Sakura, but I don't remember anything about myself. Maybe a soul that somehow made its way into the wrong body. Never known what my purpose for existence is. Do I have the right to exist as myself, rather than as the identity of Ann Sakura? Did Ann Sakura have things she wanted to do? Would I be trying to complete these things for her? I've never understood Ann Sakura. I've never known what it is she wanted. Nobody has been able to tell me. Ron, can you tell me more about Ann Sakura? Ann used her thumb to wipe away the tears from the corners of Ron's eyes, though soon the rainwater covered it back up again. Can you tell me what I should do with my existence in this world?
Miss Sakura.
My beloved is someone who can become the other person's reason to continue living, right? The present me cannot become your love, because I have no memories related to you. To become each other's meaning, we have to have shared experiences first, right? Like things you talked about before, the beachside moon, the meetings and the embraces, the sufferings we endured together. Ron was silent. Ann's words to her were too much, too difficult to take in. It was enough to let her keep going.
A reason to continue living.
Ron gently took Ann's hand.
Miss Sakura, from the first moment I saw you, you were always my one and only reason for living.
Healthy and normal. Ron opened her eyes wide and ceased crying.
I'm sorry, Miss Sakura, for doubting you. I think that I might imagine you would choose to leave me of your own volition and even forget me entirely. You've done nothing wrong. It's the school, and the 6 of those students, they're the ones at fault. He must have done something to you.
I'd venture to guess you're right on half of that. You've done nothing wrong. It's
Well,
hard to say if anyone else has. Ron? Ron held her right hand at the back of Ann's head, pressing her to Ron's shoulders.
I'll unveil the secrets of this place and find a way to make you go back to how you used to be, Miss Sakura. Just leave it all to me, Miss Sakura. As long as you're here, there's nothing I can't do.
That look in your eyes. Ron stood up, still holding Ann's hand. Seeing Ann's face suddenly tense, she hesitated a moment before asking.
Also, Miss Sakura, can I, you know...
Too soon.
Kiss you?
Kiss me?
Yes, because I've been looking for you for a long time, and I've missed you, so I'm having trouble holding myself back.
Oh no. Don't. We're not lovers. Yet. Okay, good.
Yes, of course, right. Since Miss Sakura doesn't remember me, it's not the time or place for that sort of thing. So let's just go back to the school then.
Yeah, let's just go back and I'll just try not to be too disappointed.
I'm sorry that I got you drenched. That wasn't how I meant to get you wet.
It's all right. Ron nodded, holding tightly to Ann's hand as the two walked side by side toward the school. Ann, whose pace was slightly slower, lowered her head to look at Ron's jacket. Corners of her eyes pointed downward. Eyelashes were like a cage that sealed her eyes behind them, preventing anyone from understanding what she was thinking. Oh? Sudden third person? Or sudden first
And I
person?
could feel that she was looking at me.
Oh, Prologue completed. Chance to increase when your stats has been acquired.
Level up!
Faculty 3. I think we should take an alacrity boost. We did so much running there, we got little sharper.
Yeah. Oh, that's the prologue. That's where I left off.
All right.
You understand why I called this the most codependent Yuri I've seen in my life?
Oh, quite. So very quite. Oh, gosh,
Thank you for playing through 5 hours of Prologue with me.
Gosh, that was wild. Oh,
yeah.
I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued. I want to see where this goes.
Right?
Yeah. God, whoa. That really was 5 hours, wasn't it? 4.5, but extra.
My throat is gonna feel this tomorrow.
Oh, me too. I was gonna say 4.5, but this was the prologue. 4.5, and the extra half hour breaking the curse of Chrono Jotter and actually getting it running in OBS. Can't forget that. It counts. God, I'm just thinking about Ann and Ron there. Makes me
names.
Makes me think of. I think I've shared before. Have you ever played much shorter VN called Death Becomes You?
Oh, not yet.
Yes, it's a different tone from what this seems to be, but it's the same thing. It all kind of revolves around a whole bunch of unhealthy codependent relationships with the same girl.
Oh, I love that.
With the same girl, no doubt. It's literally like I love that game because it sells itself as like a murder mystery, but it's really
an interpersonal one.
It's really all about everyone just getting therapy and coming together. It's quite something. I think you'd enjoy that. Let's see. Is this going to? Is this going to play the opening video again?
Yeah. It's a banger.
All right, let's go sign out on the opening video.
It's also very loud.
Oh, that is very true. 5 Flashbang noises. Yeah. Whoa, concerningly real skull. Makoto concerns me.
It's fine.
We haven't encountered the titular Chrono Jotter yet. Oh, hello.
Isn't it the notebook? Oh, also, don't worry about that thing you just saw.
That's nothing. Thinking. Ibuki and Sakura. Just don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine.
Welcome to Don't Worry About It Wednesdays.
Yeah, just don't worry about it Wednesdays. Wednesdays, Friends Days. Look at those. They're such good friends. It's fine.
Just gals being pals.
Yeah. Gals can't do a little codependency without being judged for it by the students that they just met and who are a bit too into killing each other, right?
God forbid women do anything.
Right, honestly. Okay. We should get out of here. Yeah, we should raid someone. Who's even on this point in the night anyways? Okay, anyone on your follow list we can raid?
It looks like Mira streaming?
Ooh, okay. Yeah, we could do it. Ooh. Ad breaks turned up. Alright, yeah, we'll go raid Mira.
Yippee!
Hey, Mira is playing Elden Ring. Heck yeah. Let's see. Hi.
Thanks for coming, everybody. Subscribe to Dawn.
Oh, and subscribe to Freya Fukunaga too. It's real cool.
When's?
Yeah, exactly. We're just here peeking and watching some concerning girls. Let's see. Yeah, I need an eye here. Yeah, we'll do that. I'm in the right place? Yeah, I'm in the right place. Yes. Okay. Go play some Elden Ring. And we should do this again. I really want to play more of this.
Yes.
We're down for more, Yuri. We're down for more Women Wednesdays. Excellent. We need to find out just what the women can do. We need to let
Women
them
can do anything,
Yes.
including die and be revived repeatedly.
Including crimes, including multiple counts of murder. Various shapes and forms. Excellent. All right. So let's sign off here. And we'll see you next week. And we'll possibly see Freya later this week. We'll see. Are you? I was saying, do you have stream plans later in the week?
Some Rune Factory for tomorrow evening, if my voice doesn't hurt so much.
Understandable. Understandable. Drink some lovely tea and
Having some milk.
milk. Good old milk. Drink some milk and